Oh my goodness. Who has the 100-word summary of all the trouble you guys got into last week?
And this is a direct quote there. Well, this is not a direct quote, but it's like a whatever. Nodal got bad touched for 22 points of damage.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, he did.
Let's see. We tracked down. We were tracking. I forget, like, because the stuff had started to intersect. So I forget, like, what we were actually. We were chasing down the guy that attacked the bar.
Yep.
Okay, so we did
headed out for Percival the Penniless.
Right, and we also caught that guy after the bad touch. We got put more in debt, and we, in my mind, have successfully, whether we continue the investigation or not, we have kind of successfully, like, put in, like, a stopping point on the dragon powder job. Because we've got basically proof that, yeah, you shouldn't fill this. And that's all he was asking for.
Alexander is already on his way to the Mortar and Pestle to tell them to not fulfill the order. At the same time, the guy comes in and we learn more information about what's happening.
It did occur to me after we handed over the street magician, the bad touch street magician, that we did not actually ask him any questions. We just kind of
pointed that out.
We kind of angrily handed him over because he killed one of us. And I was like, "Oh, we should probably go."
Yeah, I think some number of you are going to the 56 cards, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a problem that we need to deal with. Now that we know what's going on, who is going to pay us for dealing with it? Because we gotta keep that in mind, guys.
So, before I get into the, because I did some work on how much money you owe people and when you owe it to them. Before we get into that, I'm going to say your character's name, and you have 10 seconds and 10 words to describe the facial hair. Is everybody ready? I'll give you a minute to think. All right.
I don't need a minute.
Alexander.
Goatee.
Lucius.
Van Dyke.
Florian.
Clean shaven.
Seeker.
Black hair, goatee does not have black hair.
Gustavus.
Mutton chops.
All right, I'm glad we did that. Excellent. We can go ahead and Twitch clip that campaign over. Let's move on. All right. So, I've decided to give everybody an extra skill because all of you decided to be part of a mage's guild. Membership in a guild is going to grant a bonus skill. Here's how that's going to work. I've gone through each of you in turn. I'm going to give you a choice between two skills associated with your guild. You can take either one of them. If you already have one, take the other one. If you already have both, take any replacement skill that you want. Florian is a member of the Signers Guild. So your skills would be Insight and Perception. The idea here being that as a signer, your job is to be able to read people's motives and responses in business deals.
Guess what? I got both of them.
Then you can just take any skill that you want as a replacement.
That means you're a good player.
Seeker, as a member of the Diviners Guild.
I'm gonna take Arcana.
There you go. As a member of the Diviners Guild, your skills are Deception or a tool proficiency with Diviner's tools. That would be something like Tarot cards, Chicken Bone, Magic 8-Ball, something of that nature. The idea being that most Diviners and Soothsayers and whatnot are just charlatans.
Alright.
Magic 8-Ball.
Alexander, a member of Liarale Yalari, would be Animal Handling or Nature.
I think I'll pick up Nature.
Okay.
I already have that.
Lucius, a member of
Yes.
Tylesnus Apts, Arcana or History.
I have both.
Then you can go ahead and take one. Gustavus is not a member of any mage guild, but he is in Dunfoss. His master who died at sea wanted to establish a new guild within Dunfoss. So I'm going to let you pick any skill or tool proficiency you want as long as you can make a case for it being appropriate for the guild that your master was attempting to found.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say because he wanted to make a fighters college that taught basically made magic knights.
Mm-hmm.
So I would argue that I've got both of these, but I would argue that for that it would be Arcana and Athletics.
Okay.
But I have both of those.
Then you can pick a replacement skill then.
Okay. I'm gonna pick perception because having a 8% passive perception is butts.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna take perception as well. 'Cause
All right. The first day of every month is Dues Day. This is when members of magic and trade guilds pay their dues to their guilds for continued membership. And it's different for each of you. Gustavus, you're off the hook. You're not a member of any guild.
Right. I'm a big layabout. Good job.
Florian, as a member of the Signers Guild, on the first of every month, you owe the Signers Guild 3 gold pieces or the equivalent in trade. What that means is you show up at the guild hall reporting for duty. They send you out to do a signer's trade. You oversee business deals. You make sure that no magic bullshit is happening. Typically about 6 of these assignments, or maybe 2 days of work, would be enough to earn your dues.
You got it.
Showing
So
up...
that was due on the 1st, right?
Yes.
I'm putting all this in haste books.
Showing up for work on the 1st at the Signers Guild, it can get really hard to get work because a lot of people in the guild show up and look for work that day. You also have an additional requirements that you're not allowed to have any sanctions, arrests, or evidence of criminal mischief or repeated dereliction of duty. In other words, you can't break the law, and you can't say you're going to do a job and then not do it. The reason being is signers who are on official tasks for the guild are considered servants to the crown. So if you don't take the job seriously, theoretically the king will want to know why. Seeker, you've got it quite a bit easier. On the 1st of each month, you owe 15 silver pieces for continued membership in the guild, or the equivalent in Diviner's Trade. Generally, what that means is somebody will deliver, like, astrological charts or tea castings, or, like, some noblewoman showed up and described a weird dream that wants interpretation. And that's really
That
all.
sounds great.
That's all. That's all they need from you.
What was the gold piece on that?
15 silver pieces. So 1.5 gold a month. Alexander. Membership to Yalari is by invitation only. There are no dues required. But on the 1st of each month, you are required to report to the Yalari Gardens for druidic and shamanistic rituals. So you actually have to go to class. Lucius, you are
Yes.
the most expensive by far.
Sure.
First of each month, you owe 45 gold pieces with
God.
a 5 gold piece discount for each successive generation of membership in good standing, to a minimum of 25 gold pieces. I think you're the first generation of your family who's a member of Tylistus Apps.
Mm-hmm.
Plus any fees for use of apt resources during the month. This is payable on credit, provided your reputation is good, and all apt members, basically at all times, are considered servants to the crown. What this means is if you cast any spells in town, and somebody demands to see your badge, and that you show your apt badge, what you're basically saying is, I'm doing this for the king. I'm a member of Tylistus Apps.
Okay.
Now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to consider yourself on the hook for that 45 gold each month? Or is this something you allow your family to pay for you?
How willing would my family be willing to pay for that?
If you say the word, they can absorb this cost, but then you can really not say that you are independent from your family as you'd like to think you are. That's the dilemma here.
Yeah. And Lucius is kind of in such a state that he wants to get his dissertation work on his own merits, not just sponging off Dad for money.
Okay.
So yeah, he will consider himself on the hook for that.
All right. In addition, the 3rd day of every other month is tax day. where 8% of a business's profits are due the crown, in coin or in trade. The bad news is the crown has no use for private detectives, so you cannot pay in trade. The good news is you're being extorted by a dwarf named Cragget Finestone, whose brother was hanged after your interference in his case. So the third of every month, you can kind of add up your profits. Not every month, every other month. Add up your profits for the 2 months. You can count on about 12%. He always seems to find extra fees to levy against you. And for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that you've already tried and exhausted every legal remedy you have to stop this from happening, and have come up empty.
That's that guy we got executed. He's the kid of the tax man. I see.
Yeah. Let me find.
I am
Excellent.
not Killian.
So the Finestone family,
gold?
That solution.
45 gold is what is your guild dues, the first of each month.
Okay.
The Finestone family are importers of fine gems. They own a jewelers in town. They had 2 sons, Hegum and Cragget. Hegum is the one who was hanged for the murder of a half-orc citizen. They blame you for the hanging. And Cragget uses his position as a tax collector to make your life hell at every opportunity.
Where did my pencil go?
So
I wish I was Killian.
All right, give me a minute. I'm gonna need to put dates on all of these. How we need to track our taxable income. What's the day today?
Today is the 14th. And this was a tax month, so next month you don't owe any taxes.
Okay.
So you've got 4 days until you owe the Ponce 500 gold. You've got about 11 days before your guild dues. And yeah, I'm going to see if I can keep you guys nice and broke for the whole campaign.
okay.
Ancient dragon horde. You can kill an ancient dragon, right?
Yeah, sure. You're what, level 1?
Yeah.
It's theoretically possible. Actually, I don't know that that's true.
All right, first I gotta learn fly.
How many level 1 like that'd be an interesting like how many level 1 characters would it take to kill an ancient dragon?
I feel like that's a joke in D&D worlds.
Does it take to screw it on?
Instead of light bulbs.
What was
So-
the name of this guy that we captured that killed Seeker?
I don't think he had a name.
He did have
No,
a name.
Totally a
No,
name.
he
It
did.
was something like Celestian or something like that.
It was Drudalf the Cosmic.
Drew down the top.
He was a cobblestone wizard that got in over his head with some nonsense.
Yeah, he's trying to become a warlock, and he was apparently getting screwed on that deal.
Can I deduct salaries? You said it's from profits, right?
I mean, you can make the numbers work however you think you can get away with it.
Okay.
Do whatever you need to do. Don't be surprised if 8 sessions from now I call an audit. We have to sit down with the books.
That'd make an interesting session. Like fantasy IRS.
What's the
Like, I'm
Is there a
reminded
fantasy
of that.
guy that
Windows
runs
School of
46
Economics?
cards?
His name is Oswald.
Oswald. See, I'm reminded of that one event, that Planescape adventure where we went
we did
to
that.
Mechanos.
Yeah, we did that in spite of the guards wanting him first, so that should probably stay off the books.
To do your taxes, roll Deception or Arcana.
Is there a fantasy school of Chicago economics?
I just love the idea of like somebody clicking through YouTube, like watching D&D videos, and then clicking one where there's like a tax audit happening. Like, why are these people? Where are the goblins? Somebody rolled a hit. Why is this happening?
Whereas Destil, I immediately just call him on the phone. Destil, you gotta watch this. They're doing a tax audit.
Yeah, no. Like for
It's a
years,
dwarven phrase for laissez-faire.
my go-to, like if I'm gonna run an Eberron and I want to say you all meet in a tavern, it's you're all censorship takers in Sharn.
We did have like I think it was like an entire session in Planescape that was just paperwork and
Yeah, that was the
Standing
that was
in
Mechanus
line.
adventure. That was the Mechanus.
there was
adventure, I
no
remember
combat. There was like a questionnaire we had to go through, and I had everybody submit answers secretly. And everybody unsubscribed, and it was fantastic.
Finally.
All right, so one of you was back at the ranch when your good friend showed up, the license man, with some new information, and the rest of you were doing what?
We were going. Gus and I think was it Alexander? No, Alexander was going to talk to the powder guy.
Okay,
Yeah, what's his name?
that's a good question.
So it was Gus and Lucius who were going, because it was two of us who were going to try and like go to the 56 cards.
Yeah.
And before they put concrete on this man and threw him in the bay.
So we'll start there because that'll be real quick. When you go to the 56 cards and inquire about Drudalf, Oswald adamantly lets you know that this will no longer be a problem and is no further concern of yours. And
Or
leaves it
can
at
we
that.
get paid for services rendered?
How much did he owe you?
He gave us 20 down, said he'd give us the other 20 for him for the guy.
And he makes good. You have his thanks.
Gus says, well, if you get a chance, like, I don't want to know what you're doing to the man, but, like, see if you can't get some, like, who he was working for out of him, and let us know if you need our help with that, and he'll turn around and walk out.
Okay. And Alexander
stay
is
behind.
going to the Mortar and Pestle to speak with Hyankot, the purveyor of dragon powder.
Lucius stays behind and says this guy was into some dark stuff, some really awful fell magic kind of stuff.
Oswald seems in good spirits. He says, none of which you need concern yourself anymore.
All right then.
And he bids you good day.
Keeping you under the
I mean, he offers you a drink. He gives you a chance to spend some money in his establishment.
keep you abreast of the situation and no thank you.
And Alexander, you're going there to convince him to not fill this dragon powder order?
Yep.
And what evidence do you present him?
I will bring the contract, and I'll point out, and I'll tell him that we've done some digging into the person that had the royal seal on that contract, and they were in no way authorized by the king. There's some foreign noble. They just kind of bluffed their way past the...
Like, there's also no record of the contract in the Signers Guild ever having existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the things I know right now. The guy hasn't come back, and I wasn't there before he came back. But yeah, I tell him that the contract looks bad, no record of it. Seems like the guy just bluffed it. There's no evidence that the person whose family crest is on this has any authorization from the crown to have dragon powder.
Okay. He says when he comes to collect, he'll just tell him exactly that he found out that the deal was bad and he doesn't have to fill it.
Okay.
Do you want any follow-up from him on that? Like when the guy comes back?
Just let it stall him here for a little bit and send someone to the bar just so we can follow him. We're kind of investigating him for something else that might be related.
And he seems very relieved that he didn't fill this phony dragon powder order.
90 gold pieces relieved?
Is that what he owes you?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's what he pays.
Okay.
See, we're making money. We just need to find clients.
And I have added the 90 and the 20 to the balance sheet right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, the thing is like we are like a literal king's ransom in debt, and we owe like enough money for a peasant to live their entire lives, like,
Yeah,
comfortably. every month, and like I can't believe that like the powers that be would do this to us. This is the most awful thing, and I just
Destil, can you do me a favor? Can you post a link to Hastebooks and then also pin it so that way you can find it later?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So here are the open questions that I have listed that we might tackle today.
Yeah.
First is, what is the flying pig symbol? The second is, who are Alanus, Ruxby, and Thettel, and what did they plan to do with that dragon powder? Third is, why have all the Mosscap patrols been changed? And fourth is, why did the Keyskin ambassadors sail? And what is the plan for today?
Well, we never did investigate the ship.
Which
But the ship that Florian did not investigate.
I agree.
Oh, right.
We did not investigate the ship he didn't investigate.
So we should probably go and do that at some point. I guess we could ask around on our contacts for the, about the flying pig symbol. Where did we see the flying pig symbol? Was it on the Mr. Cosmic's? It was in his stuff, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was also on Ruxby's contract that High and Cot showed you for his dragon powder order.
Okay.
Is there so I'm kind of a seeker on this. Like, do we have anything open currently, Alexander?
client-wise?
Yeah.
No, I think we've, aside from the box, I think we've largely closed the books.
Is there any way we
The
can...
licensed man owes you money. You guys charged him too much, and he doesn't get paid again until the first.
Right.
Yeah.
That-
He
that's
still owes
fine.
us 20 gold pieces.
But like that's basically closed. So the question I have here is, it's a DM. So if we solve a crime in progress and we report it to the, is there like a Crime Stoppers fee?
No, there's not.
Like if we uncover a plot to like remember like all that stuff, like just a gunpowder plot.
You're in Dunfoss. You're not in like Debbie Springs, Arkansas in the 1970s.
Listen, neighborhood watches don't work, but like listen, like
That's what happened. You guys got robbed and the neighborhood watched.
Okay. Well, well, as far as Gus is concerned, we don't really have any need to, unless, I mean, currently we don't have a need to follow up on any of this stuff.
Okay.
As far as Gus is concerned.
So what are our actions for this afternoon? Seeker, remember you have raised dead penalties for the next couple days. Right now you're at -4, and those go down once per long rest for a couple of days.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to be sticking close to one of you guys for a few days here.
And maybe you don't get touch of death again.
Are one of you guys going to touch or death me?
No,
No.
I wouldn't.
Maybe.
So I guess, God fucking damn it, I guess Alexander's gonna go talk to someone in the embassy trying to dodge his father and see if any of them know anything about the Keyskin embassy pulling out.
So to the Deep Mercsif embassy?
Yep. Do you want to come along, Seeker? Do you want us to be with the person with the buffs and healing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll fill you in on what I heard regarding that, just because your dad came up.
Yeah, asshole always does. Did we get a long rest? I don't think we did, right?
No, because
I
you
did,
guys
because I didn't go with you guys.
you guys worked all night and then immediately went out in the morning to do more work.
Yeah.
So yeah, nobody got a long rest.
Listen, that's the perils of a small business.
Well, wait, what time is it now?
I mean, you guys just finished up morning actions, and now it's afternoon. You guys went out and went to the cards and went to the blacksmith and...
No, I'm just saying, because Florian and I did stay in. Like, we didn't go out.
Oh, you stayed in for the morning. If you stay in for the afternoon as well and do nothing, then I'll let you both take a long rest.
Ah,
Because you will have been at home for about 8 hours at that point.
that's fine.
Mechanics question.
Yeah.
Does fulfilling tasks for the Signers Guild, is that just one action, or does that take all day? Is it all the day's actions?
That's going to take all day.
Okay.
They're going to put you
In
to
that
work all day.
case, I'm going to take a long rest.
Okay.
Unless someone needs a second body to come along for something.
Berkwood question.
Yeah.
What does Telesnus app do for the crown?
Telestis App is the oldest of the magical guilds in Dunfoss. They are associated with guarding magical secrets. They are highly protective of these secrets. A lot of what they know how to do are the types of magics that the population at large should not have access to. Conjurations of extraplanar creatures, like mass destruction, like changing the weather, like that kind of stuff. Like the big boy spells.
I see. And do they have like any like archiving work for like low level schlubs like me?
Nope.
Okay,
Being a member of Telestis Apt is a privilege, not a job.
I see.
Their membership is not open to the rank and file citizenry of Dunfoss, only to members of old houses.
And are there no duties within that guild to perform?
Nope. Think of it like Mensa. It's like a prestigious thing that doesn't actually do anything for you.
And you have to pay.
And you have to pay them for the
Does he
privilege.
have access to their library at least?
He does, but he has to, depending on what resources he uses, he might have to pay for it.
I see.
Because
Okay,
the apt libraries are all privately owned.
So, before everybody leaves, Gus is going to go. It's like, okay, so we don't have. Should we take what we know about the flying pig stuff? Should we take that to the Moss Caps?
Why? There's no. I mean, and forgive me. This is usually you and Secrets Department. I don't think there's any money in that.
I mean, like if they blow the city up, that's. I mean, I keep my stuff here.
Right. I mean, we should stop them from blowing the city up. And I think someone said something about getting paid for it. But...
So here's my getting paid for it tale, and it involves not going to the Moss Caps. Is someone who has the money to put a bunch of money in the bank probably has a bunch of money in general.
So you, okay, all right. No, I'm with you with this. You say
And if we take them out and they were going to blow up the city, I don't know about you, but that seems worthy of a finder's fee to me. Which maybe we collect on our own.
maybe we just don't tell them we found.
Maybe we
things
just don't tell them.
Right. Okay.
There is an on the books column of the tax sheet
Like, by the way,
for overtly illegal material.
neutral good. By the way, just want everybody to know that.
Oh,
Lawful
absolutely chaotic good, and that's why I said if we stop them from blowing up the city.
I've also decided that we pay Linda 15 gold on the 1st and the 15th of the month.
Okay.
Every month.
That's a lot of gold.
That is a lot of gold.
She has like a manor house.
I mean, I don't think.
Sticking with us.
But she doesn't live here, right? Like, unlike Kevin,
No,
she's
no.
not. Yeah.
No, she lives.
That will also cover like some of the upkeep on the barge. Like she's in charge of making sure minor things get fixed and using some of that for it. Like
Fair
it's
enough.
not a very good system.
Also, let's be honest, nobody else will work for us.
Yeah.
It's like we've had to like stop her from quitting. Like, listen, we'll pay you 15 gold a month, and then she stops. She's like, okay.
And what is
Yeah, probably
Gustavus
not gonna
doing this afternoon?
Well, I guess since that conversation with Seeker, I'm going to go investigate that boat. Like,
Which boat?
I'm going to the boat in was it West Harbor?
Refresh my memory. What's the significance of the boat?
We kind of tracked the guy's servant
The
back
guy
to
who
the
came
boat.
in. Yeah.
Right.
The servant came in on the boat.
Okay.
Like we tracked him back to a boat, but we were not 100% sure about which boat. And then like we let we let Florian investigate, and he just kind of like, well, didn't find anything, and walked away.
Okay. And what's Lucius doing this afternoon?
Does the Court of Lords have some kind of premises
Uh,
in town?
There's probably an official place in High Courts Harbor where they meet for kind of official business, but the Court of Lords is more of a social gathering, tea party kind of network.
I see. 'Cause
What's
the
your
reason why
goal
I
here?
ask is my goal is to find out when the last time House Fireblood exercised their noble privilege of being on the Court of Lords.
What
And
privilege?
find out what records.
Like, what do you want to find out? Like, what's the last time they did what exactly?
Like voting privileges on a previous king, if it was some kind of like I don't know, some kind of like basically the last time House Fireblood decided to use to flex its political muscle.
Okay.
Oh, another
I'm looking
question
for that kind of record.
might be relevant. Do they have a book, like a rule book, like a book of regulations that, like, he could get?
Regulations concerning what? Like, there's
No,
lots
which-
of rules and lots of regulations all over town.
Like, yeah, like specifically for the Court of Nobles or whatever the noble things. Yeah, those guys.
A lot of this is going to depend on
Bylaws.
how does Lucius intend to go about getting this information? Like, who is he going to?
Well, my first thought was, is there a premises of the Court of Lords? But if that's not the case, then
Most likely, in a case like this, like you would find somebody who sits on the court that might have the information you want, or might be able to dig it up, and have the wherewithal to actually want to do it for you.
yeah, maybe I could call in a favor of a noble house that's positive to House Udok.
So I do have one that I've done a little bit of work on. Let's pull it up here. So there's a manor house in High Bluffs called the Wanderer's House. It's the manor house of Uraniros, which is an old house founded by early Dunfossan adventurers, said to be knowledgeable on monster lore from all over Tetlateus. Their colors are a white sword piercing into a red recoiling dragon. This is the house of your friend Elman, who is
Okay.
his entire in my notes here. The entire entry for Elman reads Lucius's friend, a playboy.
Okay.
Nice.
Excellent.
Good notes.
My kind of people. So yeah, I'll go pay a call on Elman.
Okay. Florian, you can take the benefits of a long rest.
Woohoo!
Alexander
I'll
and
rest tonight.
Seeker go to the Deep Mercsif Embassy. To what end? What are you trying to discover?
Primarily trying to avoid my father,
Mm-hmm.
but in addition to that, find out if they've heard anything about the Keyskin Embassy pulling people out, and have any inside information on that or anything anything relevant about that.
Okay. It's easy to avoid your father because he's the actual ambassador. He's a super important man. Like, you would be able to walk in his office and speak to him if you wanted to, because you're his son. But if you don't, he's not exactly wandering the halls. He's got more important things to do. So it's really easy to duck him if that's what you want to do. I don't actually even know yet where in the city this embassy is. But they know little about the inner workings of the Keyskin Embassy in any regard. There is a little bit of upheaval right now because a new Keyskin ambassador is set to be sworn in some point in the coming weeks. Deep Mercsif doesn't have strong ties with Kiska in any event. They're two very, very different worlds, and they both only kind of tangentially touch in Dunfoss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they don't have any information about why he might have sailed. If you're asking them to speculate, it could be something as simple as uncertainty about the appointments of a new king in the near future, depending on if this new king is hostile towards Kiska or not. Deep gnomes tend to not worry about these kinds of things. Like, if anybody decides to be hostile towards Deep Mercsif, they just shrug and go back into a hole somewhere. Like, they fought the Illithids and won. What are Dunfos politicians going to do to hurt them?
Right.
Thanks, Taryn.
Seeker, this embassy, such as it is thick with illusion magic. Just all over the place. Because deep gnomes are weird like that.
Nice. I love it.
They do make inquiries about whether or not you're going to pay a call on your father while you're there.
I'd rather not. Is my sister around?
She's not, because I don't have any entry for your sister yet. Haven't gotten
Okay.
that far. I'm working one neighborhood at a time.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So,
That would be his response. If I have to do anything even semi-official, can I talk to my sister instead?
whatever influenced the Keyskin ambassador's decision to leave doesn't seem to pertain to the gnomes at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Most likely,
Yeah,
it's some kind of weird internal Keyskin affair. Gustavus,
Yes.
let's get an investigation check, please.
All right. Oops. 2 dice. This one. Whoa, that's a no. That is a total of 3.
3. That's an excellent investigation. You're a wonderful detective.
My job is the muscle. I
Uh-huh.
just, everybody else was busy.
With each passing day, though, you realize that this searching the harbors for leads about what boat your target may or may not have come in on is going to become more and more fruitless because boats are entering and leaving all the time.
Right. Okay. So I'll just give up and then, halfway through the investigation, and decide to go into a bar and get drunk.
You're like, this is why Florian did that. Boats is hard. Lucius,
Yes.
paying a call on Elman. You were supposed to get him partying with the Ponce. Last time you talked to him, you said you were going to set up a meet cute. And
Yeah, and
he wants to know when that's happening.
it's been a hell of a night. I haven't had I had a chance to speak with him last night, but there was a thing that happened. You won't believe what happened.
And he launches into this, bro, you think you had a crazy night. And then he tells you about some rager he went to and typical 1%er stuff.
One of my compatriots got touched and he died.
Finally.
He goes, whoa. All right, you win.
Okay.
No, he seems extremely concerned. And
Yeah,
are there arrangements that need to be made? Like, does he need to make an appearance at the funeral? Do you want him to send flowers or trumpeters or something?
It's been dealt with. Again,
Did you get him cremated?
no, he
So we can
He's
go out on my
back
dad's
with us.
boat and spread the ashes. We'll get a
He's back
sick
with
keg.
he's back with us.
What do you mean?
But,
What do you mean back with us?
We made an appeal to the gods, and he was returned to us.
Zombie.
So he's and he makes little fang motions with his fingers, he doesn't want to say the word vampire.
No, nothing
back
like that,
with
no.
us.
No, nothing like that.
Was it the weird one who his goatee doesn't match his hair?
No.
Yes.
How would you know? I'm wearing a hood.
In any case, I promise to you, I will get you that meet with Choreo. But in the meantime, I would like to know something about Choreo's house, and I think you might be able to help me in that regard.
He says he doesn't know the man at all. You haven't set up the meeting yet. How could he tell you anything about Choreo?
He claims to be he claims to be a descendant of House Fireball.
Okay.
And I was wondering, I was trying to find out some information about the last time House Fireblood was actually active here in Dunfog.
What do you mean active?
When did he last? When did House Fireblood last use its political clout? When?
And you see the eyes kind of roll back in his head as you're lobbing him all these boring dad questions. He's like, what exactly do you need? Like, I got you, bro. I mean, your friend just died. I want to be there for you. I want to take you out and get shit-faced. That seems like it'd be way more fun for everybody involved. If we just... I know this elven place. They got these real cute half-elves with the big butts. The ones that you like. We get this... You have to taste this wine. It's like drinking the nectar from the solitary flower in the top of the mountain in, like, old poems and shit.
Lucius is getting very, very... He's losing patience.
Make a persuasion check. See if you can keep him on task.
I am trained in persuasion, so maybe we'll see.
Brick Road. Dude Bro is my favorite NPC.
That is a 15.
Like, don't say that too soon, because I still haven't decided whether or not Pantaloons will be making an appearance as an NPC in this game. I'm thinking about it. 15 on persuasion?
15 on persuasion, yes.
He has no interest in looking this information up for you whatsoever. But you remind him of favors you've done for him in the past. Like, the favor deficit is clearly in one direction, and you're going to get him this meeting with Choreo. And wouldn't it be nice to know if he's on the up and up? Like, what if he's a vampire, right?
Could be.
And he's just pretending to be a fireblood. There's no way he can get this information, but at family dinner, he'll be able to make an inquiry of his dad, and his dad might be able to ask a friend who has a ledger from 200 years ago, or whatever the case.
I see.
So he'll get some gears turning, and he tells you that once he knows one way or the other, he'll send a runner over to your boat.
All right, and I will go and see about getting you an invitation with Choreo Fireblood.
All right, and he pops his collar.
Of course.
Poppingly.
Poppingly, yes. Let me make some rolls on my end here. Okay. Florian, you are the only member of the group who was rested by this evening.
That is correct.
What are our evening actions?
Lucius is returning to rest.
Okay. So it's Lucius' intention to rest now?
Yeah.
Until the next morning?
Yeah, until morning.
What about Florian?
Come back to me.
What about Alexander?
I mean, I think I need a rest at this point.
And Seeker?
Yeah, I think we're making an early night of it.
Okay. Gus?
Gus is going to a bar in Wharftown to get wasted that he frequents.
Oh, well.
God damn it! This is what happens when no one's around to watch Gus.
Like, he's going to get wasted, but he's also going to inquire about the flying pig symbol while he's there. Since, you know, this is something that, it's a shady bar in Wharftown, right? It's not like a not shady bar.
So here's what I have for you. Said I was doing one a week.
I saw that. Yeah.
There you go.
Like, I saw this
Here's
earlier, and I
Wolftown.
was like, but this is like the bar that Gus frequents to get drunk. 'Cause
So
it's
the
like
two
a
bars I have on the list here are the Skillful Wife,
Right,
and I'm assuming that's where he's going,
right, yeah.
to the Skillful Wife.
Like, he goes there, he has a good, he drinks, has a good bar
It is
fight.
a dive bar, which nonetheless offers a much wider range of ales and stouts than its typical clientele can afford. It's owned and operated by a dwarf who is a lover of fine beers. It's named for a ship, which famously sank within spitting distance of Wharftown after its captain accidentally ignited a keg of dragon feathers, which are what this crazy town calls fireworks. The ship exploded in the bay, everybody had a good laugh, it sank, and they named a bar in its honor. Your other option for a nice tavern is one called Who Has Time, which is a bar built into a dilapidated clock tower that's been broken for 50 years.
Oh man, that sounds perfect for Florian.
The owner
That's where Florian's
is
going.
a halfling named Rowan Cotton, and anytime anybody asks him what time it is, he says time for a drink.
How often does this happen?
Constantly,
Florian does it
all
every time he
day long.
enters.
He's out.
Especially after the first drink or two, it happens a lot.
It's always time for a drink. Gus, make a... Are you spreading any money around in terms of, like, buying rounds and things?
Yeah.
Okay, how much?
Like, listen, like I'm drinking like cheap beer, so
Yeah.
that's what everybody's getting. So, like, I don't know, a gold piece.
Okay. Make an investigation check. Add advantage.
All right. That
At
is.
At least one of you guys has to be good at investigation. Come on.
You keep making me roll
Multiple people
charisma
are
investigation.
super good at it.
That is a 12.
A 12.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 potential leads. When you describe this flying pig. One is a woman you might actually know, depending on how much time you spend in Wharftown. There is a harpist named Starfingers. She is hired at a place called the Dead Man's Den, which is a smoke shop and opium den in Wharftown. And the reason her name comes up when you describe this flying pig is because she wears a cloak that is styled to look like angels' wings, which resemble the feathered wings on this pig. The other one that comes up is an old woman named Petunia Greycolor, who's an old witch woman that lives here in Wharftown. And her name comes up because she's a strong believer in the power of symbols and iconography. In fact, she's so superstitious about it that she has turned down noble custom because she doesn't like the sigils they've chosen for their house.
Okay.
So she might not know anything about the pig in specific, but she might know something about what the iconography means.
Cool. Gus is gonna like drunkenly scribble that down.
Okay.
Be like, it's like the note reads, "Sober Gus got these leads." And then like he writes it down, and then like he puts it in, and he goes back to drinking, and he buys everybody another round.
I like to think he draws like a little stick figure of
Like
Drunk Gus, like handing him the note.
like there's a penis. Like he draws like a just
Of course, there's always a penis. Yes, Drunk Gus has a penis.
right.
It's on his letterhead.
All right. So I like spread another gold around just to get drunk. Like
Okay.
everybody's drunk. Woo!
So everybody can take the benefits of a long rest, except for Gustavus, because he went and got super drunk.
Like he just comes like rolling in at dawn, like got his pants on his head.
Florian went to the tavern in Broken Clock. Who has time?
Okay.
Because that sounds like the perfect thing. It sounds like the perfect bar for Florian to go to.
This is a more upscale place. Like the clock tower is ancient and partially ruined, but the bottom floors of it have been completely renovated. The owner is a halfling, and halflings are obsessed with comfort. It's actually more or less a halfling establishment. Like you could fit in there, but it's a little snug, and you've got to work really hard not to like bang your head against doors and things as you move your way around. Once you actually get in and you're at the bar and you're sitting down, it's nice and comfy though.
Excellent. Florian would find all of that amusing.
Okay. Are you doing anything specific there, or do you just want to go there and drink?
I just want to go there and drink.
All right.
He got his long rest.
And yeah, several points throughout the evening, somebody pokes their head in and just asks, "Cotton, what time is it?" And Cotton smiles, "It's time for a drink." And it's funny every time.
Yeah. Florian would find it funny every time.
It gets funnier as the night goes on.
And the dawn of a new day.
think the question is like, what did Gus drunkenly steal during the middle of the night? The answer's nothing. He didn't steal anything. I don't know.
It's now the 15th. Seeker, you can reduce your death penalties by 1.
Okay.
And what's on the agenda for today, fam?
It's the 15th, so Linda gets paid. I'll deduct that.
Okay.
What leads do we have again? And I know what Florian wants to do unless there is something absolutely pressing.
All right. So current leads. We're looking into where the person came from who ordered the dragon powder.
With the docks, right? But we're having a tough time trying to figure out, trying to really isolate that boat. I feel like we're not going to get.
You guys are having this discussion. You hear like somebody like missing the key on the door.
Oh, that
And,
must
like,
be Gus.
Like you go in there, and then like Gus just turns around, and like he kind of like takes a thumbtack or something, and he sticks his note to the door, and then he walks over and he passes out on the couch in the office, like the couch where like people wait. He's just like, and he's asleep, like, so he's asleep there, like he's gonna take a short rest.
Florian, can you?
It's his morning.
I'm not big enough to do this on my own. Can you just give me a hand getting him down to his room in case any customers come in?
Sure.
Yeah, we don't want.
Like that, so that's Gus's morning action. He's gonna take a short rest. You
Okay.
can put him in the
Like-
boat. You can put him in the boat.
Like
if you
Alex
want.
is carrying his head to make sure it doesn't get bumped on anything. And Florian and Kevin are carrying everything else.
Oh yeah, Kevin's a thing. I gotta remember that.
Kevin's here.
Kevin's always here. He's always watching.
And judging.
So
Kevin's
what is
extremely
Florian doing today? It sounded like you had some purpose.
Yeah, he's got to do his stuff with the Signers Guild.
So you're gonna go take on work with the Signers Guild?
Yeah, unless
Alas.
there's a lead we need to follow, which is what I was hammering out before. And Florian's assumption is that the more we look in the wharf and the docks, the less fruitful it's going to be. Unless there's another way we can think of to try and figure out the origin of this individual.
I think I'm gonna go back. Oh, sorry. Well, I think I know what I want to do.
No, by all means.
I'm gonna head back to what was the Gnomish town called? It was Gnomish part of town, the district on the far west.
Gnome Town.
Gnome Town.
Is it really called Gnome Town? I thought
Yeah.
it was something else.
Gnome Town.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Gnome Town during the day and start asking around about. Sorry, all my notes are just completely frozen. The guy we captured,
Drudalf.
Drudalf, right?
Cosmic. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Everything on my screen is for some reason frozen.
Florian. Go ahead and
Rudolph
take
was in
the
Broken Town.
go ahead and take the work downtime action out of Xanathar's.
You got it.
Can everybody look at this and guess which room is which?
I know which room mine is.
You want to go ahead and roll a d6 to see if you come up with any work complications today?
I would love to.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Really? You'd love to?
Yes, I would absolutely love to. 2. Let's see. Your employer's financial difficulties result in your not being paid.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's too bad. So a reason this might happen
Perfect.
is if for some reason the dealings that you're sent to oversee fall through and neither party is satisfied, the contract is considered null, the deal doesn't go through, and the Signers Guild doesn't get their cut, which means you don't get a cut either. This could happen through no fault of your own. It might also happen because you're a level 1 character and you don't have, like, Detect Magic or Zone of Truth or...
Oh, I absolutely have Detect Magic.
Okay.
He's supposed to detect magic.
Detect Thoughts.
Um,
All the invasive
So-
spells that might be helpful.
I'm not getting credit for having actually worked today, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, you're getting credit for having worked the day, but you didn't
Okay.
actually get paid. Now, you might still go on the first and say, hey, I went on these jobs, and make that argument, which would be another check for another day.
Yeah, that's the thing Florian's gonna do.
Okay, what's Seeker gonna do in the morning?
All right.
I'm
So
gonna-
what? Oh, go ahead.
How many days does Florian have to work a month to not pay the fee?
Probably about 2 days throughout the month.
Yeah. they're broken
Okay.
too.
Sorry, I was just gonna add that to the recurring costs.
What are the others doing? Because I probably still shouldn't be on my own. Just yet.
Alexander is going to Gnome Town to see if there's connections with Drudolf the Cosmic. Gustavus is staying back at the boat and taking a short rests.
I'll go to Gnome Town with you.
Okay.
There might be a different type of gnome that you have to deal with.
And what about Lucius this morning?
I think I'm going to go to the inn where Corio is staying and try and get an audience with him
Mhm.
for the purpose of saying, hey, if we make nice with this guy, we'll get some leads. We might get a lead into House Fireblood, and he's specifically requested specifically requested a meet with you. That's kind of where I'm gonna approach it like that.
Okay. He tells you to set something up, and he'll be happy to show up wherever you need him to be. He seems very enthusiastic about this. He knew
How
that he
about
could
this
entrust you with these tasks.
How about this afternoon at the barge?
At your barge.
My office.
He was thinking something a little more. Or did you tell him who he'd be meeting with?
Yes.
I mean, for noblemen of their standing, surely something more appropriate?
What did you have in mind?
Well, what you know about the Ponce and about your friend is that they both like to party. They
Yeah.
both like extravagant drinks and loud music and beautiful women.
56 card is probably a little too lowbrow for that, huh?
Possibly. You're not sure if either of them could hold their own in a bar fight like you can.
Yeah. I think you say that. No, I haven't really thought about well, let's use which of the two bars in Wharftown is nicer? It'd be the one built out of the clock, the busted clock.
Yeah, it would.
How about that? How does that sound?
So wait, I'm confused. Is it a bar or is it a clock?
Both. Clock is broken.
He asks what good is a broken clock.
It's right twice a day.
He hadn't considered that, but you make a fine point. All right. He says he's happy to meet your friend there.
All right.
This evening, you said?
Yes.
And you arrange a time.
Yeah. That'll be my evening action. My afternoon action will be to go and get my friend on board. What did we decide? It starts with a.
What?
Well, yeah, the nobleman that I was talking with.
Elman.
Starts Elman of House.
Urineros. It's a weird name that sounds like he's peeing all the time. I don't have a neighborhood map for Gnome Town yet, but I have a couple of details.
That's Broken Wall is where we're going. Sorry if that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
We were there last session.
Oh, okay. I
He
thought
got
you were
them
going to
mixed
Gnome
up.
Town.
Yeah, no, that was
I too thought we were going to
miscommunication
go.
on my part.
Destil
Oh, okay.
is doing Destil things, yes.
I do have a neighborhood map for Broken Wall.
No, Broken Wall's fine.
I mean, there's that big broken wall. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are we doing when we get there?
I want to try, now that it's daytime, to talk to everyone here and find figure out when the last time. My notes are actually working now. Tab. Come on. The last time, what's his name? The Celestial showed up. Rudolph the Cosmic.
Okay.
Like I want to find the last person that talked to him here, and anything related to like the last couple of days that he was actually present here, because he's been missing for like 2 or 3 days, right?
Yeah, last time you were here, nobody had seen him for 2 or 3 days. Do you
let's try and...
do you tell people what became of him?
Not up front. Maybe if I get into a conversation where I think it might pull more information out of them.
Okay. And who are you trying to speak to? Because last time you were here, you spoke with Doc, who wasn't able to help you very much, unfortunately.
Now that it's day, I think I would start with the temple again. Actually, talk to the priestess this time.
Okay. Shabilba the Seventh at the Temple of Nimbus. Is this person known to you? I might have asked this last session, but
No, the only thing Alexander knows about this place is the best place to get fried rat.
That's
Keep
also
style.
never not funny. Okay. Yeah, she greets you warmly. You're not typically the kind of visitor that the Temple of Nimbus gets, but she's happy to meet and converse with you.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't seen Drudalf again in a couple days. Typically, she would only see him in passing. He would go out to Broken Wall to earn his coppers or whatever, and then maybe in the evening. But she didn't care for his company much, because he took cheap illusions and like legerdemain and sleight of hand kind of street magic stuff and made it look and dressed it up as something worth paying money for, whereas she's much more interested in the science of the arcane magic. Everything that he can do are simple formulas, perfectly explainable, kid stuff. Far beneath her. And he had absolutely no interest in learning about the actual science of what he was performing, which to her suggested that he had reached the apex of his magical studies. She makes inquiries about the two of you and how far away you believe you are from your own apex.
I mean, I'm coming along. I've got a lot of formula, but a lot of them aren't quite finished yet. And Alex kind of seems lost in thought.
What about Seeker?
I'm sure there are many more secrets that will be revealed to me, but they'll come in time.
She shakes her head and she says the arcane sciences are not about revealing secrets. It's about understanding interactions.
What's the difference?
And she goes into like a miniature little TED Talk and starts explaining her understanding of various arcane magics that just it doesn't make any sense to you upside down.
I feel like this probably aligns with Alexander's philosophy pretty closely, though.
There used to be a temple standing here, but Gnomish science blew it up, and then they just kind of arranged the rubble piles neatly, and that's what's here now.
Yeah, no, totally on board with that. Does she know anyone who did keep his company a little bit closer? Anyone I could talk to try and learn more about him? And I'll kind of like whisper, almost like, half under my breath, because I think in trying to break past that apex, he might have been involved in some pretty dark dealings.
She asks what you mean.
Oh, here comes 7 charisma. Like, what would you call it? Like, invocation of other planar power, kind of. Warlock shit.
These are dangerous accusations. I know a woman you might speak to. She's a little eccentric.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's a lot eccentric.
Alright.
By which
That's
I
fine with
mean
us.
she's a fearbolg.
That's
Cool.
less worrying.
and she directs you to a woman's house in West Harbor. So pretty actually near to here. Actually, it's kind of down the road.
Okay.
Her name is Inharis Warlock's Bane. She's
That
called
sounds-
that because she's an expert demon hunter.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of information I needed. Thank you. And I'll throw a silver piece into the collection box.
Are you like wearing any of your artifices?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there anything she's... Then she is very inquisitive about the workings of all of these devices.
I mean, if Seeker can stand it, Alexander will spend like an hour here discussing the various things he's built.
So Seeker is a wizard, but his understanding of magic is it's just kind of something that happens. Do I have that right?
Well, I mean, that's what Seeker's experience with it.
Mhm.
He doesn't. It's not like he has this like plan of like, oh no, this is just how magic works. So much as magic happened to him and he doesn't know why.
Okay. So, listening to the two gnomes converse, Nimbus is the goddess of gnomish science. And the philosophy is that magic, there's not really a thing called magic. There's just the sciences of the unexplainable.
Okay.
And the path of Nimbus is attempting to explain the unexplainable.
That sounds promising.
But she likes magic devices. She likes non-magic devices too. She is a gnome. And eventually she catches herself and worries that she's taken up too much of your time. And says that hopefully Inharis is able to help you. She's actually a fond acquaintance of hers. She's a fellow priestess. She serves at the temple of Othule, who is the goddess of chains. Othule's purview is essentially binding creatures that are too powerful to slay.
Okay, so like if we don't want to annoy her, what should we not mention?
She says she would be more worried about her annoying you.